Good evening, viewers. You're watching Pulse of Africa News. Tonight, we bring you the latest developments shaping Africa and beyond. We begin with Ethiopia. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has inaugurated the 100-megawatt Asila wind farm, reinforcing Ethiopia's push to expand clean energy capacity and diversify its power sources. The newly commissioned power project adds 100 megawatt of electricity to the national grid, contributing to efforts to improve power reliability and meet rising demand. Speaking at the ceremony, Abiy described the wind farm as the next ray of hope, underscoring its role in building a sustainable energy future. The project adds 100 megawatt of clean energy, strengthening our path towards a diversified and sustainable energy future, he said. The Asila wind farm is part of the Ethiopia broader strategy to transform its energy sector, long dominated by hydropower projects such as the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. While hydropower remains central, the government has embarked on wind and other renewable to reduce vulnerability climate shocks and ensure a stable electricity supply. The latest inauguration follows another major milestone early this year. On January 31st, Prime Minister Abiy officially launched the Aisha 2 wind power in the Somali region, a flagship development in Ethiopia's renewable energy expansion. At the time, he described Aisha 2 as a cornerstone of country's energy security strategy, with a national generation capacity of 487 gigawatt hours. The project, located in one of the East Africa Prime 1 corridor, is also expected to strengthen Ethiopia's position in regional energy trade due to its proximity to neighboring countries. Recalled Prime Minister emphasized that such projects align with his administration's Medma philosophy, aimed at harnessing Ethiopia's natural resources for shared economic growth across the Horn of Africa. Together, the Adama, Ashegoda, Aisha and Asila wind farms signal Ethiopia's accelerating investment in renewable energy infrastructure as the country seeks to power industrialization, expand electricity access and position itself as a regional energy hub. With continued focus on clean energy development, Ethiopia is advancing toward a more resilient and diversified power system capable of supporting long-term economic growth. And from energy transformation in Ethiopia, we shift to healthcare reform in the west of Africa. In Ghana, major reforms are underway in the health sector as the government moves to strengthen preventive care. President John Dramani Mahama has officially unveiled a sweeping free primary health care program, marking a bold shift in Ghana's health policy towards prevention, early detection, and universal access to basic medical services. Launched at the Shai Osudoku District Hospital, the initiative is being positioned as a cornerstone intervention to eliminate financial and administrative barriers that have long hindered access to essential care. The policy prioritizes routine training, community-level services, and early diagnosis, key strategies aimed at reducing the country's growing burden of disease. At the heart of the program is a nationwide preventive healthcare approach that will require every Ghanaian to undergo at least one health screening annually. According to President Mahama, this measure is critically for the improvement of national health outcomes and reducing long-term healthcare costs.
Every country is working to achieve universal health coverage. And universal health coverage is the situation where every citizen has access to quality, affordable care. In Ghana, we introduced the National Health Insurance Scheme, and it expanded coverage and affordability in a major way. But since we introduced the National Health Insurance Scheme, we still have a lot of pockets of underserved areas, especially in the rural areas. And so for countries that would want to extend the reach so that they can achieve universal health coverage, they include in it the primary health care aspect of it.
This program is about stopping diseases before they escalate, he stated, highlighting the alarming rise in non-communicable diseases, NCDs, such as breast cancer, cervical cancer, hypertension, stroke, cardiovascular conditions, and kidney failure. He described NCDs as the leading health burden in Ghana, driven largely by poor dietary habits and increasingly sedentary lifestyle. The president stressed that modern living marked by reduced physical activity and excessive food consumption has significantly worsened public health outcomes compared to previous generations, who maintained healthier lifestyle through manual labor. A central pillar of the new policy is preventive education designed to empower citizens with knowledge about health risk and lifestyle choices. By shifting focus from treatment to prevention, the government aims to reduce hospital admissions and improve quality of life nationwide. The program is set to be implemented across 150 districts, supported by the distribution of approximately 24,000 pieces of medical equipment to strengthen frontline healthcare delivery systems.
We also have the health kiosks. So in areas where we don't have CHIPS compounds, we'll come and put the health kiosk. We're starting with 150 districts. And we'll be very careful in selecting the 150 districts. These are districts that are underserved when it comes to healthcare. But the rest of the districts will join next year. And so we'll finish the complete rollout in all the districts by 2028.
Importantly, the free primary healthcare program will complement, not replace, the National Health Insurance Scheme. Basic services, including screenings and treatment for common illnesses, will be provided free of charge at community-based health planning and services compounds. More complex medical cases will continue to be handled at higher level facilities under the NHIS framework. To ensure effective rollout, the government plans to deploy a wide network of health professionals and volunteers, including national service personnel and unemployed but trained nurses. Welcome back, viewers. You are still watching Pulse of Africa News live from Addis Ababa. Our story continues. From public health in Ghana, we move to development in Central Africa involving a high-profile international visit. Pope Leo XIV has arrived in Cameroon as part of his 11-day apostolic tour of Africa, delivering a strong message calling for peace, human rights, and greater transparency in governance. His visit comes amid ongoing conflict in the country's English-speaking regions and heightened political tensions. Speaking upon arrival in the capital Yaoundé, the pontiff urged authorities to reflect on corruption and strengthen accountability in public life, stressing that good governance and respect for the rule of law are essential to restoring public trust. He also called for security operations to be carried out in full respect of human rights. The Pope is scheduled to meet President Paul Biya, one of the world's longest-serving leaders, in a visit that has drawn mixed reactions among Catholics, with some reviewing it as politically sensitive given recent unrest following disputed elections and crackdowns on protests. Separatist groups in Cameroon's English-speaking regions declared a 3-day truce to coincide with the papal visit, allowing safer movement for civilian and dignitaries. The region has been affected by a prolonged conflict that has killed thousands and displaced hundreds of thousands since 2016. Pope Leo is expected to continue his program with visits to a Catholic orphanage and mass celebrations, including a major service in Bamenda, the epicenter of the separatist conflict, before continuing his African tour to Angola. And from diplomacy and religion, we turn to energy policy development in Southern Africa. As Namibia moves closer to becoming a major oil producer following significant offshore discoveries in recent years, President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah has cautioned that the country could fail to capture the full economic value of its petroleum resources without stronger policy alignment and coordination. Speaking at the Namibia International Energy Conference 2026, she emphasized that Namibia is entering a critical phase, transitioning from exploration to production, where regulatory clarity, transparency, and investor confidence will be decisive. The country's first oil ambition, she noted, will depend not only on geological success, but also on effective collaboration between government institutions and private sector players. Her remarks come amid the growing expectation that Namibia could join Africa's leading oil producers following major discoveries by international energy companies in the Orange Basin. However, like many emerging producers, Namibia faces the challenge of avoiding the so-called resource curse by ensuring that oil revenue translate into broad-based economic development. At the same conference, the president announced that the cabinet has approved a new upstream oil and gas local content policy. The policy aims to increase Namibian participation in the sector by prioritizing local employment, supporting skills development, and enabling domestic businesses to integrate into the oil and gas value chain. The framework is designed to ensure that the benefits of oil production, such as job creation, technology transfer, and enterprise growth, are more widely distributed across the economy, rather than concentrated among foreign operators. Analysts view the policy as a crucial step toward maximizing national gains, but caution that its success will depend on consistent enforcement, institutional capacity, and sustained investment in infrastructure and human capital. Without this, they warn Namibia risks underutilizing a historic opportunity to transform its economy.
Are you a consumer or a trader or a manufacturer? Where will you be on Monday the 2nd? Save the date. The Made in Ethiopia Expo 2026 opens its doors, your one-stop marketplace for everything industrial, innovative, and proudly local. Discover textiles and leathers, cutting-edge chemicals, precision metalworks, construction tech, and tomorrow's electronics, all under one roof. From raw inputs to finished goods, you will find it all. Taste the delicious local flavors, join lively discussions, forums, cheer at product competitions, and connect with local and international manufacturers. Promote your brand, meet buyers, source where your business needs, or shop for your home. It's opportunity in motion. Join us on May the 2nd to 6th, 2026 at the Addis International Convention Center. Register to exhibit or just come and explore. Don't miss out. Organized by the Ministry of Industry for Universal Sovereignty, Made in Ethiopia.
Turning to this hour's business news. Commodities trader Trafigura signed a $1 billion prepayment agreement with Gabon, providing the government with upfront financing in exchange for future crude oil deliveries over a 7-year period. Under the arrangement, Trafigura will supply the funds immediately while securing exclusive rights as the off-taker of Gabon's profit oil during the duration of the deal. Profit oil refers to the government's share of production after recovery of operational cost by oil company. The structure allows Gabon to access liquidity without pledging traditional collateral or sovereign guarantees, according to government statements. The Ministry of Economy and Finance in Gabon said the $1 billion will be paid through delivery sourced from multiple production sharing contracts and a range of producing assets and operators. Officials added that the financing is intended to support investment programs and address social development priorities at a time when the country is seeking to strengthen fiscal stability and foreign exchange reserves amid volatile global energy markets. Trafigura stated that the agreement continues its long-standing trading relationship with Gabon and support the country's broader development agenda. The company is confirmed that it has begun syndicating part of the exposure to international financial institutions, a move that spread financial risk while maintaining its role in securing long-term oil supply commitments. Meanwhile, the International Finance Corporation, IFC, and Citigroup have signed $98 million borrowing facility aimed at expanding local currency financing for private sector development in South Africa. The facility is designed to strengthen the World Bank Group's capacity to provide rand-dominated funding, helping reduce foreign exchange risk for businesses and supporting broader capital market development in emerging economies. The initiative has already supported IFC's investment in the Cape Water outcome based on bond issued by First Rand Bank, marking a milestone in the use of innovative financial instruments in South Africa's development finance landscape. Officials say the arrangement builds on a similar Kenyan shilling facility launched in 2024 and is intended to be replicated in other emerging markets facing similar financing constraints. World Bank Group and Citi representatives described the partnership as part of a broader effort to deepen local capital markets, improve access to long-term funding, and strengthen financial resilience in developing economies.
Are you ready? Every effort, every drop of sweat, proof of determination, a path to victory. Join the Grand Street race hosted by the Ministry of Industry and the Ethiopian Athletics Federation, where industry meets endurance and opportunities are born with every stride. On April 26, Mescal Square will become the heart of movement. Over 800 professional athletes and more than 17,000 runners will race together in the Made in Ethiopia Expo 2026, a celebration of health, unity, and national resilience. This is more than a race. It's a chance to connect manufacturers, raw material suppliers, athletes, and citizens, opening new doors for collaboration and growth. Prizes are grand, the spirit is greater. Space is limited, so register now at the Ethiopian Athletics Federation around Gurdishola, organized by the Ministry of Industry in partnership with the Ethiopian Athletics Federation. Run for your health, run for our future, Ethiopia for universal sovereignty.
And finally, sport news. Mamelodi Sundowns will look to finish the job against Espérance Sportive de Tunis on Saturday as both sides prepare for a finally balanced Total Energy CAF Champions League semi-final second leg, with pre-match facts highlighting how little separate the two teams. The South African champions carry a slender 1-0 advantage into the decisive encounter, with historical data suggesting another tight contest is likely between two of the continent's most consistent performers. Recent meetings between Sundowns and Esperance have been defined by narrow scorelines, underlining the tactical discipline and defensive resilience that could again shape the outcome. Sundowns will be encouraged by their strong home record in knockdown matches, while Esperance arrive chasing a comeback and aiming to reach yet another continental final. The Tunisian giant struggles with converting big chances this season could prove decisive, particularly against a side that has slowed down efficiently in key moments. With a place in the final at stake, the pre-match numbers point to a contest likely to be decided by fine margins once again, as both sides aim to turn data-driven trends into decisive moments on the pitch. Now let us look at the weather forecast across the continent. That wraps up this house Pulse of Africa News. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and follow our Facebook page, and for the quickest headlines, follow us on TikTok. Don't miss our weekly program, El Dorado. I am Adele Ongene. Thank you for joining us.
Africa represents the ultimate energy Pandora box. We have some of the world's most abundant renewable energy resources, as in solar, wind, and hydro. Yet, some 40% of Africa's population has no access to electricity. This energy poverty impacts nearly every facet of life, from clean cooking to access to medicines, to quality education, as well as to economic activity. The Scaling Up of Renewables in Africa initiative was born of the need to expand energy across the continent. We support an energy-secure future for Africa that harnesses the human and technological potential of the continent.
The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, a continental symbol of self-reliance, unity, and clean energy. It will provide over 5,000 megawatts of renewable power, lightening the way to fair energy for Ethiopia and East Africa. We are advancing our national clean cooking roadmap. It will free millions of households from smoke-filled kitchens and ease the daily burdens, especially for women. In our cities, the Green, Inclusive, and Smart City Initiative is building a space that breathes with walkways, bicycle lanes, electric mobility, green and safe public spaces. And we are phasing out fossil fuel transport, reducing emissions while creating more healthy cities. Excellencies, our journey offers an example that the potential across Africa when we unite vision and effort.
What the country has done is, under the leadership of your Prime Minister, you've actually taken what you have in the dam and you've converted that to hydroelectric power, and you're using that to displace things like diesel.
We have ample renewable energy potential as well, and the natural assets and resources to green our own consumption, but also to meaningfully contribute to decarbonization of the global economy.
El Dorado, a land of wealth, a future of limitless possibilities. This is El Dorado. From natural rich to groundbreaking innovations, discover Africa's untapped potential. El Dorado, unveiling Africa's global potential.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran.
Conflict is often understood as geography, a place on a map, a conflict contained within borders, distant from those not directly involved. It is seen as an event, something that happens somewhere else, to someone else.
The longer the conflict lasts, the more severe the disruption to shipping routes and energy and fertilizer supplies, the greater the risk of a significant
After failed peace talks in Pakistan, President Trump acknowledging the economic pain he described as short-term might get even worse.
But in practice, war rarely remains where it begins. It moves. The crisis is not the war. It is where the shock lands. Economics connect long before geography does. Energy markets respond globally. What appears localized quickly becomes a global event, not because of proximity, but because of connection. When tensions escalate, the immediate images are familiar. Missiles, military presence, strategic waterways under pressure. But the deeper impact unfolds elsewhere, not through direct confrontation, but through disruption of expectation. Oil, one of the most globally integrated commodities on Earth, does not wait for supply to vanish. It reacts to the mere possibility that it might. Prices shift before a single barrel is lost. Markets recalibrate risk in real time, and in that moment, a geographical crisis instantly transforms into an economic one. Almost instantly. In many African economies, energy does not originate where it is consumed. Fuel is imported. Prices are decided elsewhere. An external shock does not create the vulnerability. It simply exposes a system that was already dependent. Because oil is not just a commodity, it's priced on anticipation, on the assumption that supply will remain stable, routes will remain open, and disruptions will remain manageable. When that assumption is shaken, the system reacts immediately. So the question is not whether Africa is affected. The question is how Africa responds. Is Africa negotiating from a position of dependency, or is it beginning to build leverage?
Africa represents the ultimate energy Pandora box. We have some of the world's most abundant renewable energy resources, as in solar, wind, and hydro. Yet, some 40% of Africa's population has no access to electricity. This energy poverty impacts nearly every facet of life, from clean cooking to access to medicines, to quality education, as well as to economic activity. The scaling up of renewables in Africa initiative was born of the need to expand energy across the continent. We support an energy-secure future for Africa that harnesses the human and technological potential of the continent.
the grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, a continental symbol of self-reliance, unity, and clean energy. It will provide over 5,000 megawatts of renewable power, lightening the way to fair energy for Ethiopia and East Africa. We are advancing our national clean cooking roadmap. It will free millions of households from smoke-filled kitchens and ease the daily burdens, especially for women. In our cities, the Green, Inclusive, and Smart City Initiative is building a space that breathes with walkways, bicycle lanes, electric mobility, green and safe public spaces. And we are phasing out fossil fuel transport, reducing emissions while creating more healthy cities. Excellencies, our journey offers an example that the potential across Africa when we unite vision and effort.
And under that pressure, responses have already begun. Public financing for energy has risen from $13 billion to $47 billion over the past decade. More than 20 African countries now rely on renewables as their primary source of electricity, accounting for over 40% of total generation across the continent.
Now it's about converting that energy and making it useful in other areas in the economy. So industry is one angle and the other one is transport. And transport is a huge burden on the economy. You really need transport to move goods around the country.
In Ethiopia, the government's green legacy policy has already placed more than 115,000 electric vehicles on the road, powered not by imported fuel but by domestically generated electricity. What appears as a transition is an extension of the same pressure that has pushed Ethiopia to become an EV frontrunner in Africa. Ethiopia, through electricity, offers a different kind of stability. It's not priced on global oil markets. It is not subject to the same external shocks, and that difference matters.
ያው ደሪ የኢትዮጵያን ብክለት ቀናሽ አብዮት የሚያበረታቱ ቴክኖሎጂዎችን ማሳያ አውድ ሆኖ ያገለግላል። ከዚህ በተጨማሪ ፖሊሲ አውጪዎች፣ ባለሀብቶች እና ዜጎች
This exhibition serves as a platform to showcase technologies that drive Ethiopia's green mobility revolution. Moreover, the program will help investors, policymakers and citizens gain awareness of the modern and sustainable transport services we are building, the technologies displayed, the collaborations formed and the ideas exchanged at Green Mobility 2025 will highlight Africa's, particularly Ethiopia's, steadfast commitment to realizing a sustainable transport revolution.
I think the public fails to realize how big a revolution this actually is for the country. Because what the country has done is, under the leadership of your Prime Minister, you've actually taken what you have in the dam and you've converted that to hydroelectric power and you're using that to displace things like diesel. And this is an amazing step forward for the country.
This pattern is not confined to one place. Across the continent, different forms but connected by the same pressure. In Kenya, geothermal energy alone provides nearly half of the country's electricity, stable power that does not fluctuate with weather.
We have ample renewable energy potential as well, and the natural assets and resources to green our own consumption, but also to meaningfully contribute to decarbonization of the global economy.
Africa holds approximately 40% of the world's solar potential. Vast wind corridors remain largely untapped. What has been missing is not resources, but conversion, and that's beginning to change. In Morocco, the Noor Ouarzazate complex turns desert sunlight into stored, dispatchable power. In Namibia, solar and wind are being turned into green hydrogen for both domestic use and export. In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Africa stands at the very beginning of the new energy supply chain, producing the majority of the world's cobalt. The question is no longer whether Africa is part of the global energy system. It always has been. The real question is on what terms. If oil defined the last century, who will control the inputs of the next? Africa. In the modern energy system, Africa is no longer only on the consumption side. It's positioned at the origin. This shift is becoming visible through Mission 300, backed by the World Bank and the African Development Bank, aiming to deliver electricity access to 300 million Africans by 2030. Through the Dar es Salaam Energy Declaration, endorsed by 48 governments in January 2025, African nations are moving away from a model defined entirely by external control toward one where they shape the future of energy from within.
El Dorado, a land of wealth, a future of limited possibilities. This is El Dorado. From natural rich to groundbreaking innovations, discover Africa's untapped potential. El Dorado, unveiling Africa's global potential.